deja vu experience almost sounds familiar, as if you've gone through it before. I think it's because of the audiences here, and the television audiences are really ideal that attend this program. I've been fascinated all my life in trying to glamorize my working with the mind by employing physical objects to bring about the completion of someone's thought. I've caused chalk to move along a slate even though no one was touching it. And there's another kind of test, and I think it'll be appreciated by the little tots as much as older people. Bill, by the way, come on up here. This is my announcer and camarade, I should say, camarade, my friend Bill Luxton. Would you all give him a hand? He's a really fine person. I like the new step there. That's great. Well, Bill, the ping pong ball. Can I step in the audience, Bill, and hold it with your back to the audience and just throw it over your shoulder. Someone just catch it in your area. Well, I think we missed everyone. Bill, you want to throw one more? You have another ping pong ball? You have another one?
No, I haven't.
No, you don't have another ping pong ball? We're getting another one. We had two of them, but we thought we'd hit the first time. Want to throw it out? Cameraman, you want to throw it over here? He didn't throw it to me. One more try. This is too... Stand up, ma'am. Stand up, if you will, ma'am. You've been elected for this. Expect you don't mind being sawed in half. You come on down here, if you will. I never thought we'd do this, my friend. How are you? Come on up here on stage. You play cards at all?
No.
You know the names of cards?
Yeah.
You do know the names of cards? You know every card in the deck? No, don't look at the table. That's not that attacks later on, that bird. Do you know the names of all the cards in the deck?
Yes.
Good. Well, come on along behind the table. What's your name, by the way?
Yes, Warrington.
What is it?
Warrington.
Wanington?
Yes.
Wanington?
Warrington.
Warrington. Well, nice to have you here. This is the intellectual level of the program, which we will set to the side for the time being. Actually, I am going to utilize 2 decks of cards for this effect. I think it'll be pretty clear that I've taken the jokers out of this deck. I'm never sure anymore which camera, but the cards are shuffled. What I'm going to have you do is to take the deck in your hand and just lift it up to your eyes. Look at me, please, and just peek at a card, kind of like that. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, while we're doing this, let me just establish that we're using 2 decks. Here also, if I may, is a complete deck. The cards here as well are different. The jokers not only were removed, they're missing. So we'll shuffle that as well. And it is a shuffled deck of playing cards. Now, when you take the deck in your hand, watch me. Just lift it up and peek at a card. Do you understand? You're going to hold your hand on it. You just lift it up. You can see the card there, right? Mm-hmm. Don't ruffle through. Now, I'm going to place an elastic around the deck, thusly. You'll do this behind my back. What she's doing, folks, if I can take advantage of a camera, is with her right thumb, she's just peeking at a card. There she sees a 10 of spades. If she opened it again, any card, that king of clubs. But the important thing is when you look at a card, memorize it. Now, hold this in your hand. Use your thumb. Now, don't do it yet. Use your thumb just to lift up the deck. As you lift, just open the deck and peek at one card. Is that clear? I want you to photograph it in your mind. Step back here. Face our audience. Now, with your thumb, just lift up the deck. As soon as you see a card, close the deck. Have you seen one? Close the deck immediately. All right? Now, come over to here. Now, I have taken this deck, which we've already shuffled. We'll place the card boxes in the most appropriate position. Now, if we will, let's take this and spread the cards out so they're on this table. This is strictly a mechanical bird. I will wind it up. There are no wires attached to it, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
No wires at all. I'd like you to place your hand on my shoulder, please, if you will. Now concentrate on the card, please. Say nothing, think of it. Is it a black card?
Yes.
Is it a club? Then it is a spade. Watch. Watch. Think of the card, please, if you will. You will notice the tremendous enthusiasm of the bird, of the duck. But what I'm interested in, as you watch it, is the right front corner of that bird. It's obviously pushing and finding its way onto a card which it is jutting forward from the rest of the cards. I don't even want to be the one to judge. Since it's not moved beyond that card with your right finger, would you touch the card, just the back of the card, that it's resting on most of all? Use your own judgment. I can see it's pushing it out forward, and it's spacing the deck. Fine. Obviously, it has spaced the deck there, even though earlier it started to push out the rest of the cards. She thought of one card out of 52. Never told it. I do know it was black, and it was a spade. What's the name of the card, please?
5 of spades.
The what?
5 of spades.
Out of 52 cards. Amazing phenomenon. You're an excellent subject. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, I was in Rome recently, and in my audience, I found Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who mentioned to me that what I did with the power of suggestion was almost similar to his application of it in everyday life and positive thinking. I'll show you what I mean a little bit later on. Thank you. I mentioned earlier Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and of course Dr. Peale has become world famous for his writings on the power of positive thinking. That if we hold an idea in our mind, it can cause great changes in our life. Well, as an entertainer and a lecturer, as a lot of you know from last season's programs, I've come to promulgate something that's quite the opposite of what I used to believe. I really do not believe in my heart and soul that there is such a thing as a hypnotic state. Now, I say a special hypnotic state. I'm not saying people fake things when they're responding to suggestion. I'm saying the hypnotic trance or condition that medical men and stage hypnotists talk about doesn't exist. Now, you know, today when people are supposed to be hypnotized, they slump over and they look relaxed like this, but there's a lesson to be learned. 150 years ago, nobody, when they were supposed to be hypnotized, reacted in that way. To the contrary, when Mesmer, and it was called mesmerism then because he believed the planets influenced individuals and that we gave off magnetic force. That's why hypnotists are always seen with magnetism coming out of their fingers. Well, when he mesmerized people, they didn't close their eyes and relax. They started to shake all over. They started to scream. They'd fall out of their chairs, bang their head violently on the floor, shake violently. And Mesmer called this the crisis. Everybody reacted this way. But a boy by the name of Victor, who never heard of mesmerism, was told by some people in France, in one of the quiet country areas, "You're having headaches, go to this Marquis. He's a disciple of Mesmer." And the Marquis started to work with him by making gestures in front of his eyes. Now that's like a mother caressing a child, except the child is not being touched. The boy never heard of the crying and the screaming, never knew that you started to shake all over. And he found the gestures so soothing, he closed his eyes and relaxed. And in the history of hypnotism, they say this is the first incident of the hypnotic trance, which I think is hogwash. Because when the mesmerist talked to the boy and said, "Victor, can you hear me?" the boy said, "Yes." And he had the boy move around and do motions and actions. The boy believed that this is the way you were to respond. He was only responding to suggestion. He wasn't hypnotized. Neither were Mesmer's people hypnotized. And today we find that we can do the same thing without having anybody relax, having them look like they're in a trance, or using anything dealing with the mumbo-jumbo of dozing and what have you. Now, you hear a lot about suggestion to remove pain, to turn off feeling. That is a lie. It is a lie perpetrated by some people, medical and otherwise, who claim you can turn off feeling by hypnosis. The person's wide awake, knows everything that's going on, feels everything, except that if you distract someone's mind and with their imagination change the nature of their thinking, what could be painful can seem like pressure, but you always feel it. Lie detector tests prove this. So suggestion is powerful. It can help people to overcome smoking habits. Dieting, not so much, because people have to go back to eating. You just can't stop a person from eating totally. It has strange dividends. A little while when we come back on the air, I am not going to hypnotize anyone, but I'm going to show you how powerful suggestion can be. In fact, I'd like some people now, at this very moment, who are willing and receptive to join me by coming right down here on stage, and we'll have chairs for all of you. How about it, folks? I'd like a number of you just to come forward. Would you come up here now or down the front? And while we go off the air, I'd like you people to join me. Please come forward. Thank you. Be back a little bit later after the commercial. Well, I've talked to these subjects during the break and in a kind of warm-up situation to condition their thinking. And I'm going to show you one or two tests. In fact, what is your first name?
Paul.
Paul? Paul. Stand, if you will, Paul. Stand about here, in fact, just about this point. You might take, if you will, in fact, let me have you stand over here so that you can just turn facing me. Place your feet close together. Come one or two steps closer, Paul. Now, Mesmer felt he used to use magnets to cause people to react. Then he found out it wasn't the magnets that were doing it, it was his hands. He felt his hands gave out some strange force. We know it wasn't his hands, it was the power of suggestion. Paul, you stand as straight as you wish, but watch my hand. Watch my hand. It's the most amazing phenomenon. It's the most amazing phenomenon. And you're not doing that deliberately, are you, Paul? What seems to be happening? You can speak loudly. What seems to be happening?
It feels weird.
It feels weird. That's a conservative remark. As a matter of fact, it's a pulling. It's the most unmistakable pulling. Try to stand as straight as you will, and yet it's a force pushing you, Paul. Try to stand, and yet it becomes so strong. Try to stand as straight as you will. It's impossible to resist. Impossible. It really pulled you, didn't it, my friend? Sit right down. An excellent subject. Thank you very much, folks. Excellent. Beautiful. Weird feeling. Well, I'll tell you, folks, how would you describe what happened near the end when you were being pulled? What did it seem like, the sensation?
I just felt that I didn't have any legs anymore. I was just straight down.
And you were not doing that deliberately in any way, were you?
No.
Now, I'm going to show you something. Also rather fascinating. I'll ask this gentleman here to stand right where he is. Stand, if you will, let the backs of your legs touch the chair. What's your first name?
It's Henry.
Henry?
Yes.
Henry? Now, Henry, what's going to happen, if you look at me for a moment, when you close your eyes, now you've sat many times in your life, you're going to be pulled into the chair. You won't fall. It's as if your knees will be pulled forward and you'll slowly be forced to sit down. All right, now, Henry, close your eyes. Close your eyes. In fact, it's the most amazing phenomenon. Already, Henry, your knees are starting to bend forward. They're starting to bend forward, bending forward, 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 because something seems to be pulling you back into a sitting position. So strong, indeed, so strong, you're going to be pulled into the chair almost momentarily. It's happening already. Already you're being pulled, pull, all the way back. You're going to have to sit down in a moment. You're going to have to sit down, all the way, pull. That wild? Exactly how it felt, Henry, because it was a... Henry, you tell me, how did that feel?
Well, it was, I don't know, it's so astounding.
And you were not doing that in any way deliberately, were you, Henry?
No.
It's the most and I never did that with you before, did I?
Never before.
Now I'm going to show you something which is kind of a collective response that becomes strangely remarkable. All of you. The chairs, don't worry about them. They will not slide because we are using rugs. I want all of you to stand. Just as Henry did, Henry as well. Stand. Have the backs of your legs touching the chair. Although, quite frankly, as you start to be pulled into your chair, your knees are going to bend forward because you're going to find yourself being forced to sit down. Now, don't close your eyes yet. The interesting thing this time is that it happens faster because we are all more suggestible in groups, which is why riots don't work very well when they only apply to one person. All right, all of you standing, look at me. Not that you're hypnotized, you're not. You're wide awake. Now, close your eyes. And then close your eyes, all of you. It's amazing how easily, how rapidly, once the first person sits, it spreads like a wave. There she goes. The knees are bending forward. They're all going back, being pulled in the chair, back, being forced to sit down. You're having to sit down, like a leaning tower. Oh, I thought it was going to go over. All the way back. In fact, as they count to 3, all the way back. 1, further, 2, you're being pulled faster than ever. 3, you're being pulled all the way. Last one, but the most strong, I would say. Thank you very, very much, folks. Excellent response. How would you describe that? How would you describe that?
It's stunning.
And how did it feel to you, ma'am?
No, I couldn't control myself.
We normally, with our eyes closed, tend to sway and lose our balance, but to have it pulled in a direction is pure suggestion. Now, when we return, we're going to answer the enigma suggested by Bill Luxton regarding a chair and the strangeness of temperature change. Be back after the following commercial. Thank you. Well, the important thing, folks, is that you're not in a trance, you're wide awake, you're wide awake in every way, am I correct? Yeah. You haven't been asleep during this whole demonstration, am I correct?
That's quite true.
Maybe the quality of the No, I don't want to say that. What were you laughing at, my friend? What's your name?
Judy.
Judy, you find this an interesting experience?
Oh, it's wild.
Would you believe this happened while you were wide awake? It's kind of hard to believe, am I correct?
Sure is.
Well, I want to show you something regarding the power of suggestion. In fact, I'm going to ask you just to stand for a moment to the right here, a little off to the right. I'm going to talk to this gentleman over here. May I ask you, you wonder why I'm talking to you. I never saw such suspicion. What's your name again?
Paul Harris.
Paul, certainly I don't know you personally, am I correct? Are you going to school or are you working or what?
Working on construction.
On construction. How long have you been doing this?
2 years now.
All right. Paul, would you want to stand up for a moment and just examine your chair? There's no wiring to it, am I correct? You can pick it up and look at it. Is there anything suspicious about it?
No.
No way? Would you suggest that there's any wires attached to it?
No.
Not in any way. That was a cultural answer. Sit down, Paul, if you will. You know, Paul, you've been in experiences where things, the atmosphere, the weather becomes very warm. Am I correct? Now, as I talk to you, it's the most amazing thing. You're not going to believe this at first. In fact, you'll probably end up by examining the chair. But as I talk to you, the temperature of the chair, amazingly enough, can begin to change. In fact, you'll probably start to notice it already, just as I'm talking to you. What's the matter?
It's getting a bit warm.
It's getting a bit warm. Well, the lights are hot here in the television studio. This is a color Pardon me?
The chair's getting warm now. It's not the lights.
The chair's getting warm. It's not the lights. Yeah, it's getting warmer, in fact.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Try to stay in it as long as you can. Be determined, Paul, to stay in that chair as long as you possibly can. But as long as he hears my... What's the matter, Paul?
Get roast rump.
I hope we don't have to bleep that out of the thing. Try to stay in there. Matter of fact, have you ever, Paul, been sitting on a fire? You never have you?
No.
I hate to think what happens when I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. It's just one of those things. Paul, that's hot, isn't it? It stays hot, too. As much as you try, you can't sit in it. Paul, try to sit in the chair and make believe there's nothing wrong with it. Try to sit all at once in the chair, please.
Yeah.
Just relax all at
Sure
once. Sit
now?
down. It's pretty bad, huh, Paul?
Yeah.
You could... How would you describe it?
Hot.
I think, Paul, you better sit over here, and I'm going to have this kind gentleman change places. Come over here and sit down. And give him a hand. He really deserves it. Come over there and sit down, please, if you will. Pardon me?
This one feels a bit warm.
That one feels warm also? Paul, this is a complication I didn't anticipate, folks. I give you my word. Sit over here, and Miss, will you come forward over here? The best thing to do, Paul, is to sit in it all at once as if there was nothing wrong. Make believe there's nothing wrong with it and sit all at once. Just relax. I'm sorry. Sit down. Pardon me?
It feels hot.
Well, I think that will pass in lieu of another kind of sensation. That will pass. It's no longer hot. In fact, it isn't hot now, is it, Paul? No. But you know, folks, my gosh, I never meant it to go from one chair to the other. Looks like our wires got crossed. As a matter of fact, all of you sitting here, you saw a fellow's chair as I conversed with him without any hypnosis, no trance, and they're not hypnotized, find that it became so hot he couldn't bear it. Well, heat can also be painful and take other forms. In fact, those of you sitting here, I'm just talking to you. It can, my friends, take other forms. Matter of fact, things often can happen just like this. Just one of these terrible situations that when they what's the matter, sir?
It feels a little bit picky or something.
A little bit what?
Picky.
Picky, that's a new term. Picky. What's the matter, miss?
Somebody pinched me.
Somebody pinched her. The demonstration takes on a new quality. And unfortunately, folks, things like this they get stronger each time, and after all, I'm talking to them, and things are happening like that. And it's a terrible situation when it, pardon me, Mr.
I didn't do nothing.
What's the matter, Mike?
I didn't do a thing.
Why are you looking at her like that for?
Well, I felt a blow from her.
Young man, what's the matter?
I don't know. Something's happening.
Huh? What seems to be the trouble, my friend?
It's
Of course, after a while, suspicion takes place. I can't blame because I'm talking and like this. You find something happening that's so absolutely terrible. So I got this fellow. What's the matter? I think he suspects what's going on. What's the matter, young man?
She got me. I saw her that time.
She what?
She pinched me. I'm positive.
You are positive. Miss, did you pinch her?
No, I sure didn't.
I would watch her very carefully, and because this can get worse. Oh, I would watch her because, after all, like that, to have things happen in this way is a terrible situation. Miss, what's the matter?
I don't know.
Sir, what's the matter?
She did it again.
She did what again? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What's your name?
Trent, sir.
Trent, where are you sitting in the audience? I'm going to ask you to return to your seat in the audience and watch your step as you go back there. There's nothing more than I'd like to have but great comfort for him. So let's let him. Your chair feels all right now?
Yes, quite well.
Do you have any idea what was causing this, sir?
Him.
Pardon me, miss?
Him.
Him what?
Pinched me.
He what?
He pinched me.
Well, are you comfortable up there, Kent? Is your name Kent, sir? You comfortable up there? You feel comfortable there, don't you? I mean, there's no... Good. You feel relaxed and everything? Good. I like to make my subjects come because, you know, who would expect out of nowhere this to happen? And it's a terrible situation when it takes place. Oh, my gosh. I mean... what are you looking so... What happened, my friend? What happened? There's a girl coming in there. She's coming in. What seemed to happen, my friend?
I'll stand for a while.
Huh? What did he say, folks? You're going to stand for a while? You thought? Well, you can sit down later on. I'll tell you what, you people have been such fine subjects. I'm going to ask you, miss, if you would just do me a cute favor. Give him a little kiss on the forehead. Just give him a kiss on the forehead, real quick, please, if you will. Go ahead, give him a kiss. I have a reason for saying this, and I'm going to ask you, sir, to give this young gal a kiss on the forehead. Would you come over here? And, miss, would you give him a kiss on the forehead? These three people? Because all I'd like you folks to do, they've been kissed on the forehead. This is not the way to paralyze someone so they can't get out of their chair. But wouldn't it be amazing? Freud once said that love and hypnosis are equal in the first 2 months of marriage, that there's that kind of relationship. Since there's no hypnosis, they were only kissed. Would you all return to your seats, please? I thank you for coming up here. Miss, what's the matter?
I seem to be drawn back.
What's the matter, my friend?
There's glue on the seat, I think.
Well, these things do happen from time to time, and the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, many medical men who are watching this demonstration at this point will suggest that, well, these people were hypnotized before the program. Stage hypnotists will say, when I say there's no hypnosis, they'll say, well, Kreskin is playing with words. Neither person is correct. After all, there is no evidence in existence that a person is in a hypnotic trance. I remind you that it's a wise hypnotist who knows who's hypnotizing whom. And tonight, nobody was hypnotized. Till next week, goodbye, everybody.